Hey there, and welcome back to Organizing the Entrepreneur. It feels so good to be back with you all, and let me tell you, this episode is a special one because today I'm talking with someone who's more than just an entrepreneur. She's a friend, she's a client of my organizing business, and a total force of nature. Carrie Evatz Schipper is a board-certified nurse practitioner and the owner of Pure Beauty and Wellness, an incredible luxury med spa here in the Metro Detroit area. Carrie's life is all about helping people feel confident and well, but like so many of us, she was feeling the squeeze in her own spaces. Her home is busy, her business is growing, and when I met Carrie, it was during that crazy blur of 2020 during the pandemic. And with all the growth in business, she was beyond ready to find ways to simplify her life. And that's when we met. I remember it like it was yesterday as we walked her basement and we talked all about organizing. What I didn't know then was that this project in her home would be the start of a beautiful friendship and a professional relationship. And they've both evolved right alongside her incredible business. I've been so lucky to have a front row seat to her journey. She's proof that being organized isn't just about pretty bins or labels. It's about the emotional and practical foundation that allows you to grow. As a busy entrepreneur, she talks about the art of time blocking and how this has helped her prioritize things like networking, self-care, and long-term goals, like retiring early. Hello. Even if she's 20 years out, she's planning now. And that is so inspiring. And I think we can all take a page out of her book. She also has some incredible advice for other entrepreneurs, especially those of us who tend to people please. She reminded me that it's okay to not please everyone and to have the courage to stick to your core values, even when it feels scary. It's a message that resonated so much with me. For Carrie, her core values, they guide every decision she makes. They're her North Star, both in her personal life and in her business life. We're diving into how organization became the foundation for her incredible growth and why sticking to your core values, it's a non-negotiable. And also how a little time blocking can change everything. You don't want to miss this episode. Now let's get into it. We've known each other 5 years.
Yeah,
5 years.
it seems longer.
It does seem longer, but in a good way. I got introduced to you through a networking group, and we really started off me doing some organizing for you, which was a ton of fun. There was a lot of building our relationship together over the last 3 years, and now we're more than that. We're friends, obviously. But for those people who are not familiar with you, can you kind of give a brief intro to who you are, what your business is, and a little bit about yourself?
I sure can. Hello, everybody listening. My name is Carrie Evatz Schipper. I'm a board certified nurse practitioner, and I specialize in anti-aging or cosmetic injections and the wellness era. I own Pure Beauty and Wellness. It's a luxury medical spa located in St. Clair Shores along the Nautical Mile. We've been in business for 10 years, and we have treated well over 15,000 patients. I myself has treated over 10,000 patients over the last decade. And we pride ourselves with really good customer service. So good patient care, good patient-centered care, as well as helping people with their overall physical insecurities in a non-surgical approach. So we do lasers, all the lasers you can consider, laser hair removal, tattoo removal, get rid of brown spots, red spots. And we also offer all the cosmetic injections to the face and body, as well as facials, skincare, chemical peels, vitamin therapy, things like that. I'm a mom. My son is Lucas. He's 11. And I've been married almost 14 years to my husband, John Schipper. And I got to say something about my little dog.
Oh my gosh,
And
yes,
Cooper,
please.
my little Boston Terrier, is 5.
Oh my gosh, so you just got him when I met you. He was a puppy.
Yes, he was a COVID dog, and we got him over the summer of 2020. And then, which I think it was technically like July, like around this time, so 5 years ago. And then I believe we met in September or October of 20. And I remember the first time I met you, and I was really embarrassed about my basement. It looked like an episode of Hoarders, or starting to look like that. And you said, do not touch anything, leave it exactly the way it is, and I'm going to come and take care of it. And so I came after seeing patients, and it was a crazy day, and you were there, and so nice and non-judgmental. It made me feel at ease.
Oh my goodness. I remember that day like it was yesterday as well. You were so busy, and I remember that you were kind of flying in there. You just come from treating patients, and we walked downstairs, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is easy. I can do this. It feels a lot less heavy when it's not your stuff. That's for sure.
Right.
You've had quite an evolution. You've been in business for yourself for the last 10 years. And what made you want to get into the luxury med spa side of things?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I first applied for graduate school, so for those of you that don't know, to become a nurse practitioner, first you're an RN with a bachelor's degree, and then you go back to school, to graduate school, either to get a master's degree or higher. So I have a master's degree in nursing, specializing in primary medicine. So I'm board certified nurse practitioner in primary medicine. When I decided to go back to graduate school, I honestly thought that I'd have my own primary care practice. And things changed in our healthcare system, and it would cost a provider a lot of money, a lot of upfront costs to have an insurance-based practice. It was, at least I thought at the time, easier because I could do everything myself for a period of time until I had more capital and to increase revenue with staff. So I switched my original business plan from primary care over to wellness and aesthetics because I myself was starting to receive cosmetic injections. I was really getting into hair, skin, nails, all that. And really, wellness is from the inside out. It's not just what we do on the outside. It's how we eat, drink, our activity, non-smoking. And so that was already part of all my lifestyle anyway. So it was an easy transition. At the time, I was working full-time for a pain management practice, and it was a side gig. I really thought, well, I'll learn how to do Botox injections. And then I learned how to do fillers. And within several months, I was taking advanced courses because I was really, really devoted and passionate. I'm still really passionate. I love injecting. I love increasing people's confidence. And it just turned out to be a really good fit for me. So I don't miss primary medicine at all, or pain management. So those are hard. It's hard. Those are hard fields to deal
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too, kind of circumnavigating around the insurance part
Right.
of the
Yeah, we are a
business.
cash-based practice.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of providers that are kind of going that route now. That's a whole
Hmm.
nother rabbit hole to go
Yeah,
down.
boutique. It's called boutique medicine.
Oh, I love that you've been again on this journey and it's evolved and now you're into your second location.
Oh, wow. We're in our fourth location.
Wow.
Yeah. So when we first started, I office shared with a physician colleague, friend of mine. I was there for about a year and a half, and I was starting to really build and grow, and I needed a larger space. And so then I went a lateral move and rented like a suite inside a day spa. And I knew as soon as I was in that that was a temporary position because the practice was just growing so much. And honestly, um, the ethics and core values that I have and how I run my practice were completely different from the owner where I was renting from. And so there was some confrontational issues, and I just wanted to have my own place. So at that time, I decided I definitely need my own space. I finally found my own space, signed on the dotted line for, at the time, was a lot of money, and for a 5-year lease. And then the pandemic and the quarantine hit within less than a business week. And we were told we couldn't work for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it was. It was 5 years ago. And it was really hard. So at that point, I decided that I wasn't going to be a tenant after that. Once those 5 years were up, I wanted to purchase some commercial property and have a forever home. That way I could have a little bit more control over certain aspects that you can't if you're leasing. So
Yeah.
fourth location, we're there for 5 years. So from March of 2020 until April of 25. We just moved to our forever home, and our new home and our forever is a standalone building located at 25701 Jefferson on the Nautical Mile, right next to a very popular brunch place called Brunch with Me. And they are fabulous people that own that, and the customer service is really good there. And so we just are really clicking with some of our colleagues in the on the Nautical Mile.
That's so fantastic for you to just finally have a place that you can call your own.
Mhm.
I know just from behind the scenes of chatting with you and seeing what it's taken to get you to this forever home. It's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get
That's
into
right.
this space. And organization has played a huge part in you being able to grow your business and to move forward and
Mhm.
to get into a new location. And I'm just curious because you're one of the first entrepreneurs I worked with as an organizer.
Okay.
And your experience with organization over the last few years, what kind of changes or impact have you seen in your business and your personal life?
Mm. So organizational wise, at the practice, it's important to have documents, standard operating procedures or protocols, policy procedures, orderly, tidy. My team likes them printed out in a 3-ring binder, but we also have them on the computer in the shared drive, and it helps to guide our day to days. So that helps that aspect. And of course, a meaningful space has really been a significant part through my growth, because we had to create a lot of space inside a small amount of space at our old location, and working with what we have. And there was a lot of limitations, but it did help. So physical organization, like having things labeled, or a room or cabinet or drawer where everything belongs, cleaning supplies, that was a transition. That was a fun transition when we moved from downtown St. Clair Shores to the Nautical Mile, because we, had a lot more space, not quite double, but a little less than double, and just figuring out where everything is going to go. So we spent the last 4 months doing that, and everything now has a home. And then at home, your company, A Meaningful Space, has really helped in the home as well. If everything has a spot and there's a spot for everything, it really helps day to day and well, at least for me, decrease my anxiety, and then things go more smoothly. It's just less stress that you have to deal with if you know where everything is. So organization is very important to me. Things I still need to tackle in that department, I would say electronic organization.
Hmm.
I'm not good at. I save a file. Where did I save it? Did I save it to the desktop? Did I save it to the share drive? So I definitely could still use some work there.
Yeah, yeah, I'm right with you. I'm not fantastic. I go through every like couple of months when I have spare time. No, let's be honest, when I make it a priority
Mm,
because it's just one of those things
there's
that
no spare time.
there's no there's no spare time. Is there anything specific that you feel like you've learned through seeing organization change your life, change your space?
Oh, again, I would go back to it really helped decrease my anxiety, because if everything has a home and everything has a place, and you need something, you automatically know where to go, right? And those are
Yeah.
resources to guide your day to day. And if you don't have your resources easily accessible,
Mm.
then stress and chaos and still. However, with my core values, order, which is, an offset of organization, is one of our top 4 core values. And so if you can't follow protocols, policies, or don't put things back where they belong, when Janelle has clearly used a label maker and everything, then there's an issue there. But if we follow that and do it, it just makes it for a more pleasant work environment. Well, work and home environment.
Yeah. And you know what? You opened my eyes. You coined the term zhuzh for me, which I
I
love.
like that word.
It's
I
it's a
still don't know
fun
how to
word.
spell it,
It's
but
okay. I think there's multiple ways you can spell it, but regardless, it's the same meaning behind it. And I love that you say that. I love that you incorporate that in your life in both business and personal. I think that's such a fun way to kind of say, let's clean this up.
more fun word than tidy.
Exactly. I mean,
Mhm.
that doesn't sound like a good time.
But that's all it is.
That is all it is. Is there any particular routine or system that you feel has been most beneficial to you?
Yes, in the fall of 2022, I had decided I was physically working in the business too much to be able to grow the practice, run the practice and the business and be efficient with it. So I in the fall of 2022, so about 2 years after we met, I decided to drop down from 4 treatment days a week to 3 treatment days. And now we are July of 2025. I'm looking to drop down from 3 treatment days to 2 treatment days because I have a new nurse. She's not new, but she's a new employee. She started in February, and it'll allow her books to open up so she can treat more patients. And it gives me time to do the old fashioned networking, things like we're doing today, a podcast. If I'm treating patients every day, I don't have time for what we would consider extras, but they're not really extras if you're really trying to evolve and grow. You really need to put the time aside. And so that's the next big plan. So generally I would say that it's time blocking, right? It's a form of time management, but it's organizing your time so that certain days and certain times of certain days of the week are dedicated to the things that are important to you. And so on Tuesdays, which today is a Tuesday, is my administrative day. So that's my day that I do payroll. I can go to meetings. I can be on fun podcasts and things of that nature because I don't have to worry about treating patients and I have a team. So the business is still going on without me day to day when I'm not there. Phones are being answered, people are being treated, and it's working out. So the team I currently have, it's working out really well.
That's something that I think I've really learned from you actually is figuring out ways to delegate out
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities. And can you just touch on that a bit? Because I think that's been a huge part of what you do is delegating some things out and also recognizing that it's okay to let go of certain things for the benefit of growing your business.
Right. So if an entrepreneur is doing everything in their business, it does inhibit growth. In the beginning, because there's usually low funds unless you have investors, you're really forced to do these things. And then as you get more customers or patients, whatever the label is you want to use, you do have to delegate to grow and get to the next level. There's no leveling up if you're the only one doing all the roles. And I feel that that would lead into burnout.
Hmm.
So you have to delegate. I think the best way to delegate is first ask the person you're delegating to, I need to take some things off my plate so that I can excel in these other areas. How do you feel about taking over these tasks? And then they say yes, no, okay. Well, how can I help you conquer those or be more confident with those tasks? And then just train them on the whatever it is that you need, train them on those tasks and how you want them done so that you can do what you're good at. I realized over the last decade, it's not always easy to go outside what we're really good at. And sometimes it's okay to not be good at certain things and to delegate that out, or you might excel at it. But if you don't like it, then then give it out, delegate it to someone that likes it and that's good at it. Can you
That's,
imagine doing things that you don't like all the time?
oh
Like, how
God,
would you not get burnt out?
that's so true. I mean, those things are really correlated. And I mean, one does lead to the other. I maybe didn't think of it in those terms, but that's absolutely so true. Do you feel like now that you've delegated and that you're doing less treatments or treatment days, do you feel like you enjoy treating patients more, or do you feel like that has changed your outlook on how you interact with people?
I think that goes into self care when you're not doing everything yourself. You really do enjoy those activities if you're not doing them every single day or you're not doing too much of those activities. So I feel that there's a transition about to happen in my practice, and it's intentional to lead me closer to retirement. I could be a good 20 years from retirement. That's not my goal. My goal is to retire earlier, still have the business, but not be in the business, right? So another nurse practitioner, a physician assistant, or a physician would come in and take over my role eventually to do the good faith exams and the consults and the dictation for the plan of care for the rest of the team to carry out. So working less day to day with patient care allows you to really focus on entrepreneurship. We didn't become entrepreneurs to work every single day in the field. That's not why I became an entrepreneur. I think it's better for me. And I like the time blocking and the management of your time because there's less anxiety. I know every other Tuesday I do payroll. I know on the opposite Tuesdays, like today, I have other activities I can do where I can join networking groups or have a tea or coffee with a friend. There's other things. And sometimes that little rest and relaxation after a crazy Monday and before you get really busy for your next work day is a nice way to settle down and not get to burnout.
So I'm curious then, is that why you landed on Tuesday to kind of take that specific day off from treating patients?
Yeah, I started with Tuesdays because at the time I was working Monday through Thursday. The job I had prior to injecting full time or having my own practice was Monday through Thursday. It was like 10-hour days, but it worked. So then I had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you recoup and then you go back. So I knew Monday through Thursday worked for me. And then I chose Monday and Thursdays as late nights. And so Friday was a normal 6 to 8 hour day. It was normal for me to say, oh, Tuesday is going to be the day. Because if Monday and Thursdays are my late days, I need some reprieve. So it had to be either Tuesday or Wednesday. And it just fell on Tuesday because at the time I was involved in a networking meeting and the meeting started at lunchtime. So it was like the middle of the day, especially for an early bird. So could I have worked a portion of the day or worked a half day? And sometimes I did if needed, but it just made more sense to continue with that process and keep Tuesdays as an administration day and a little way to calm down in the beginning of the week. Because Mondays are usually quite busy for me.
It sounds like a couple of different things. One, it sounds like you're pretty strategic when you're thinking about the moves that you're going to make. And it also sounds like you've really established some goals, probably short term and long term, because you're talking about long term planning when you're talking about being able to retire early, not be in the business, but own the business.
Correct.
So, how did you get to that point where you're really focusing on goals? Has there been anything that's really helped you kind of set this scenario up?
Yes, I've been like this for as long as I can remember. I think I've always been like this. I remember this one short story where I was in undergraduate school and I was at Macomb Community College and I wasn't even in nursing school yet, but I was doing everything, my prerequisites to apply to nursing school. And there was a class, it was a chemistry class, and I was having a really hard time. And I hired a tutor. I would go to my professor because I really wanted to understand these concepts because I knew if I didn't do exceptional in these basic classes, I might not be able to transition those into grad school. And my mom, who's also a nurse, well, she's a retired nurse now, thought I was out of my mind. Like, why are you worried about the future or grad school when you're not even in nursing school yet? So I was always planning for long term. Nursing was great. I was a nurse for a few years and I knew there was something else for me. So I switched jobs a couple times those first 3 years as an RN. And then I just knew my destiny was to go back to graduate school and become a nurse practitioner. So that's what I did.
Very instinctual.
Yeah, maybe, right? You do
Yeah.
things and you don't even realize what you're doing. Like I was manifesting before that was a word that I even knew or it was popular.
Yeah.
All of a sudden there's a definition to things that you were doing, but you didn't know what you were doing, right?
Right.
Self-care now isn't what it was
Oh.
20, 30 years ago. And believing in yourself and believing in your goals and manifestation, all these things are really real, but you have to believe in them, and you have to have goals and measurable goals and how you're going to achieve that. And so it did take a long time. Graduate school was close to 5 years for me because I worked almost full time. And even my bachelor's degree was close to 5 years as well. So it was a lot of work, physical work, and nights and weekends writing papers and research and all that.
Yeah, but you know what? You obviously you knew what you wanted, which is
Mm-hmm.
so important. I mean, to just have that idea in mind. So again, back to those goals. I want to take a second. I want to walk down memory lane and head back to the basement. 'Cause
Ooh.
I think it's
You'd have permission to post those awful photos if you want.
um it was such a transformation, and I think again it's one of those things at the time maybe you didn't realize, or maybe it was in the back of your mind, maybe you were manifesting it. Um but that whole basement led to you being able to move to the home you're in now.
Correct. Yes, we had just redone our home in St. Clair Shores, which was your typical 3-bedroom brick ranch. We made it more of an open concept within what we could. And we spent a lot of money and time and energy remodeling this. That was 2018 into 19. And when the pandemic happened, you weren't going anywhere. And when you returned to work, all you did was go to work, maybe the grocery store, and you went home. Like, there was no parties, there was no nothing, there was no holidays with your extended family for a while. So we had date night, and we would sit on the laptop on the couch, cuddle up next to each other, my husband and we would look at Zillow. That was our date. And one Friday night we came across this home in Grosse Pointe Shores, and I got tears in my eyes, and I thought, oh my gosh, we need that house. That's our house. So immediately, of course, it was a Friday night, I was contacting my loan officer to see, do we have enough money for this? Are we going to get approved for a loan? Can we afford this house? And that was January of 21. And we moved in April of 21.
Yeah.
So if we didn't have that basement done, I think we would have need 2 dumpsters or roll offs, roll away. And we had the biggest one we could, and it was packed full. And that was after you cleaned out the basement.
Yeah.
That was mostly the rest of the house and the garage. Just a lot of stuff. We lived there for 12 years. And the American way is abundance and living outside your means and collecting stuff and having stuff. And that was really significant for me because we had really purged and got rid of so much stuff with your help with the basement. So it was a lot easier because I was learning these new ways to think and to do through organization and through you and your company, and just to continue on with that. So we just continued on with that. And it's like 3 piles: keep it, throw it away, or give it away. And if you keep it, you have to organize it. So I started giving a lot of stuff away. I have a hard time throwing things away and being wasteful. I really enjoy giving things to people that can utilize those, and then those things have a new life with a new family or a new home, and then they're upcycling and repurposing, and they're just not in the landfill somewhere. So that makes me feel good.
Oh, I'm 100% with you on that. Anytime we go into someone's house, we talk about where we donate to, who we work with as far as different organizations, and we try and keep everything we can from going into a landfill. We recycle a lot of things. It's just really important, I think, for us as well, and for a lot of our clients too. So I'm glad that you brought that up. But I also want to know, so what was the moment where you were like, I really want to reach out and have someone help me get organized? Like, what prompted you to make that choice?
Well, at the time, the group that we belonged to was Girl Boss,
Oh, yeah.
formerly Girl Boss, now Boss Evolution. And we were on a Zoom meeting. There was like 6 or 7 other ladies.
Yeah.
And you introduced yourself, and I thought immediately, oh, I need her. And as soon as we hung up, I talked to my husband. I said, I met a professional organizer. I'm going to have her come out, and we'll start in the basement because that's the thing I'm the most embarrassed about, and we need to do something about it.
Yeah.
And I remember him thinking I was out of my mind to pay a few $1,000s to have someone organize my basement for me. However, at the time, it was 2020. We were working limited, and I looked at it as an investment of my time if I didn't have to do it myself, and I would make more money if I was at work. I did that investment, and you were so fast and you were so thorough, and he was so impressed. He says, I understand now.
Oh.
I see the value that you saw before the end result. And here we are. And
Yeah.
John doesn't think twice when I say, Janelle's coming. Janelle's coming. Well, Janelle's coming back. What else is she going to organize? So anyways, I like having our zhuzh sessions.
And you know what? Look at what John did with the garage. I mean,
Right. And now my big car doesn't fit in it. So he edit it again. Before winter, at least.
Yes, because that was a huge moment for you too.
Yeah.
Being able to park your car in the garage after 44 years, you said you
all my life. I never parked my car in the garage ever. Any home I had, the garage was used for stuff. It just, so we broke the cycle, right? We broke that cycle of too much clutter, too much knickknacks, tchotchkes, whatever you want to call it. And so almost every season now I purge, and I either do a drawer, a room, a section of our larger room, and tidy up and get rid of things, whether we give them away or toss them or whatever we do. And it helps to keep that clutter to a somewhat moderate level. I would love to say minimal, but I like stuff.
Yeah. It's okay.
There's
to
a
like
reason
stuff.
why companies like yours exist, and that's me.
No, it's okay to like stuff.
I'm not a minimalist.
Yeah, and it's okay to not be too. I tell people that like I'm a mediumalist. Like I have just the right amount of stuff.
On medium up.
Medium plus.
Yes.
So let me talk to you about your professional perspective as a luxury med spa owner. What do you think every entrepreneur should know?
So every entrepreneur should know it's okay, all caps, not to please everyone. It's okay. You're going to survive, girl, if you don't please everybody. You have to please yourself at the end of the day, because I've almost burnt out so many times in the last 10 years, and I finally figured it out, and I'm almost 48 years old. Entrepreneurship is hard. There's a lot of ups and downs. You have to prepare for this, leading yourself by your core values, and you choose what those are. And it makes those difficult times a little bit easier, because you're going to look back at your values and your ethics, and it's either going to align or it's not. And there's your answer there. I would say that not every person is your customer. For me, we call them patients, but every person out there is not your ideal client, customer, patient, whatever term you want to use. And that's okay. Because if you're going to jeopardize your core values or your ethics to treat someone, it's going to bite you in the you know what, and it's only going to lead to stress and burnout. That goes into my next part that every entrepreneur should know, is to market yourself to the ideal customer, client, patient, whatever word you want to use. Market yourself to that person, because that allows for your non-ideal clients to fall off, and then your ideal customers will gravitate towards you because they align with your values and what you stand for. Does that make sense?
100% makes sense. Yes, absolutely. And I think that's something that I felt like I incorporated and learned early on when it comes to I'm not the right fit for everybody. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that because, like you said, entrepreneurship has a lot of ups and downs. And a lot of times you're like, oh, what if I don't take this patient, client, customer? Am I going to be able to pay for whatever I need in the future? And there's a lot of sometimes a scarcity mindset that people fall into. And, but I think you're talking more on the side of, if you leave that space open, you leave room for the people who you really want to work with.
Right.
So coming from really more of a, instead of a scarcity mindset, more of an abundance mindset almost.
Right.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people out here in our overpopulated world for everybody. There
Yeah.
really is. And I would rather have less in my books and have quality time with those patients and really treat them to the full capacity that their financial situation allows than be like a busy one after the other after the other, and it's like an assembly line, and there's not meaning or therapeutic discussion there. For me, that's not the kind of provider I ever envisioned being, and that also leads to a lot of burnout. Even if you have a 15-minute appointment, if you're seeing 30 plus patients a day every 15 minutes, that's a lot of interaction. That's a lot. So right, I don't see that
Yeah.
many patients in a day
Sure.
anymore because of everything else we've already discussed today. But there was a time when I would see 18, 20, 25 patients in a day. And it's just, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too many people to interact in one day. It's not
Oh,
my preference.
me either. I mean, I'm an introvert. I would probably be in the corner crying somewhere if I had to interact with that many people in one day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now let's talk a little bit about what you do because you're very passionate about it. I am a patient, so I
Mm-hmm.
understand how important it is what you do. I understand the time and the care that you take with everyone. How do you think beauty and self-care routines help women feel more in control or grounded in their lives?
Oh, this is great. So I would say all people have some insecurities. And oftentimes these insecurities are physical. So I know a lot of good therapists if they're mental insecurities, but for physical insecurities, what are some lower risk options that we can do? So sometimes people are like, I don't like how my nose dips down or it lifts up too much, or I don't like whatever it is. But let's start the conversation with what do you like about yourself? So I do like this and this. Great. I agree. Let's focus on those things to enhance those features that you already like. This is what we're going to do. So we will develop a care plan based on what the patient likes most about themselves and, of course, what their concerns are. So because we offer so many different plans and so many different packages, so there's a lot that goes into the initial patient consult.
I love that you really focus on the things that people like as well as the things that they want to improve on. What
Mm-hmm.
about self-care routines for yourself? Because you talked for a second about self-care looks very different nowadays than it used to. What
Yes.
does it mean to you?
So, for those that don't know, I love body work. I love getting massages and going to the chiropractor. Self care is hard initially, at least it was for me several years ago, to dedicate time to yourself. If you don't have those episodes of reprieve and rest, that's of course what leads to burnout and stress, and then you respond and you interact in a version of yourself that you really don't want to show up as. No one wants to walk around that I know and be high strung and stressed out and overwhelmed and feel like your brain is a busy intersection like an expressway. So self-care helps to decompress, analyze what you did for that day. Like if you're doing a self-care routine at night, right? Your self-care doesn't need to be expensive. Self-care can be as easy as I'm giving myself 5 minutes to brush, floss, and do my evening skincare, right?
Yeah.
So often I listen to a podcast, and whether I'm getting ready in the morning or I'm doing my self-care routine at night, but routinely I love regular body work. I also like reading. I realized I like reading and I wasn't giving myself enough time to read. So I do a lot more reading than I ever used to. I love to exercise. I know that the endorphins and the serotonin and the other chemicals that get released during physical movement really help. I used to have a ton of anxiety when I was younger, and regular exercise has always been helpful to me. I love Pilates. In the last 2 years, I've been doing Pilates. I have my personal trainer, Terry. I've been working with Terry for years and years and years. And then I also have a therapist. So my therapist is Steve, and we've been working together intermittently for several years. And he helps me manage stress of being a busy entrepreneur and the stress that comes along with having a business. And ironically, he used to have a yoga studio with his wife. So even though he's my therapist, he can give examples of his own personal experience. So he is a really good fit for me. And those are my primary self-care things, but it's important to set aside time for your loved ones. Those are the most significant, and do time with them. So I used to like chart at night. Maybe we're watching Netflix in the evening, or for example, I don't do any of that anymore. I'm done by 6 o'clock, latest 7 p.m. and I'm done. Whatever doesn't get done, work stuff, it's the next day, the day after, I'm done. Like I need 2 to 3 hours to unwind at night for my brain to settle down, decompress, as people like to say, and have family time. Right. So, and really, I feel like I'm winning or cheating on life if I'm done by 4 or 5, because then I have like 4 to 5 hours of my day still before
Yeah.
I'll be in bed sleeping. So there's no way those days of working 12 and 16 hours are long gone. I can't do
Oh,
it anymore.
I love that you talked too about how you incorporate not just self-care for yourself and how important that is for you, but also how you balance that with time with your family
Mm-hmm.
and kind of, where that fits in along with running your own business. Because I feel like a lot of times that's the struggle for a lot of entrepreneurs is how do we manage it all? How do we fit it all in? And I love that you have boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yes, lots of boundaries, especially these days. So we have lots of boundaries. The boundaries are based on our 4 core values, and the 4 core values are family. So we treat each other like family. We love and respect each other, whether it's a work situation or true family or friends that are family, right? Chosen family. Order. I know you know about order and organization. That speaks for itself. Keeping things tidy, zhuzhing as needed, your policies, procedures, SOPs, all those are in order. Third would be, and it's not in any particular order, financial freedom. Our prices are definitely, and they never will be the cheapest, as I know your business isn't either. However, you get what you pay for. And
Yeah.
I feel that you're worth so much more than what you charge. That's how I feel. I see value in your service and you work so efficiently. I can't imagine that every organizer works that fast. So I see the value in the fees, and we stand by those. And the fourth one is accountability. I cannot work with someone or a patient or myself, family. I can't work with people that lack accountability as an adult.
Mhm.
It's a huge trigger for me. And if they do lack accountability, then they get discharged in some way
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
practice, from my life. I just getting to a place in time. We're all human, we're all imperfect. Let's just do our best while we're here,
Yeah.
and just try to care for each other, be kind, understand that people make mistakes, but don't apologize for something and then not make changes. Then that's lacking accountability. So that's really important. So those are our 4 core values. And then of course all the boundaries come from those core values, and they ebb and flow. And there's some that are guaranteed and there's some that are a little flexible, and sometimes I add or subtract things as life needs, right?
Yeah.
As you need.
And that's the beauty of being your own boss, running your own business, that
Mm-hmm.
you have the freedom and the flexibility to adjust as things change and as you
Right.
change. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to ask you too, is there any misconceptions you think about luxury or med spa care that you want to clear up at all?
Oh, yes. I planned something for that too. Things I wish I knew before I started a practice or a business.
Mm.
Number one would be managing unrealistic expectations. Wow. People in this space have such unrealistic expectations. I have an entire system and protocol during my consults with initial patients, and lots of documents that they sign that they understand. But at the end of the day, this is a cash-based business. And people can desire the $5,000 and $10,000 results all they want. If they can't pay for it, then they're going to get the results that they can afford.
Yeah.
And so that part can be very, very hard because some people just have very unrealistic expectations, no matter how plain, simple English you use. So if someone was coming new into medical aesthetics, I would say really work on psychotherapy, work on managing expectations, self-care books, things along those lines, because that is going to be the most challenging part of owning or working as an injector or in a medical spa space. And then I would say now, I wish I knew the things I know now that 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
Like I could have started planning my exit strategy, or that the practice would work more independently without me in the beginning. That's just not the way I did it. That's not how I envisioned it, but it evolved over time. And now I know that that's where I'm headed as I'm getting older.
Yeah. That's some really good advice, especially to people who are, getting ready to start out in this field. But yeah, I'd love to just kind of start some wrap up Q&A, but I had some fun little get to know you questions that I thought I'd throw out there so people might get to know you just a little bit better. Are you game? Okay. What's one thing you always keep in your handbag?
Oh gosh, that thing's a mess. You're never allowed to go into my purse. There's always tissue in there because I have terrible allergies. Michigan's probably the worst state for me, but I love Michigan. Anyway, I always have some kind of little zipper, and it has like little makeup in there. Not much. Like it used to be this, and then as I get older, it's getting smaller and smaller because I just don't need it. But I love having just it's almost like a security blanket. There's just like a little compact in there, maybe a lip gloss, some eye drops, but I always keep that in all my bags. That little bag, which is currently blue, will come out of any day purse and go into the backpack if we're going to the zoo or on a day trip. And so.
Yeah. Okay, love it. What about if you could only shop at one store the rest of your life, where would it be?
Wow, that's a really good question. Well, before it left Partridge Creek, I really like Nordstrom's because it had so many different things. Now you can't buy your food there,
Right.
So it doesn't cover everything. I can't believe I'm like speechless. I can talk about anything. So I would say, I would go with Nordstrom's.
What's your guilty pleasure snack that you don't feel guilty about?
Oh, at this age, I don't feel guilty about a lot of things.
What's good?
A glass of red wine.
Mm.
I don't feel guilty about that. A bottle, I would feel guilty about, and not a glass of red wine. Dark chocolate, ice cream. I just love sweets, but everything's in moderation now as I've gotten older, and I don't crave as much as I did when I was younger. So it's like a couple bites is usually fine. So definitely it's something sweet.
Yeah.
Even over wine. Definitely it would be ice cream.
Incorporate those two things together.
Yeah.
All right. What about one recipe or meal that's always in your weekly rotation?
Oh, yeah. So there's this little hack I learned probably only about a year ago. And I get this powdered protein. It's actually bone broth, but it's powdered.
Oh, I've had it.
And it's from Paleo Valley. And I put a scoop or two of that into my coffee. And it's only 80 calories and 13 grams of protein. So I really try to shoot for at least 100 grams of protein a day. And it really helps that.
Yeah.
And it was my one little thing.
Pretty good too.
Yes.
Well, that was kind of fun. Thank you for just being open and honest and always yourself. But we're getting into wrap up Q&A. And I feel like you kind of touched on the first thing, one thing you wish you would have known starting out. And one thing you're working on now, would you say that's different?
Is working and growing the practice so that I don't have to work in the practice as much. So I know we touched on that already, but that is one of my, I'm working towards that. So currently I work 3 days a week treating patients. My goal is to drop down to 2 days a week If it's not by this fall, probably January of next year, because I have my nurse that I'm working with and getting her up and running, things like that. And then summer, we call it in medical aesthetics, we call it summer slowdown. We are a little slower. So this is a great opportunity to, get on this podcast with you and do fun activities that's not part of my normal day today.
I'm so excited you're here. And I would love for people can you share with everyone, obviously we know where you're located, but share it again. Where can people find you? You've got a fun Instagram. I love your red flag, green flag that you go
We
through.
have more of those coming.
So yeah, tell everybody where they can find you on the socials and also where to visit you for
Yes.
cosmetics.
So Pure Beauty and Wellness, a luxury medical spa, is located at 25701 Jefferson in St. Clair Shores, Michigan, along the Nautical Mile. Our website is purebeautymi.com. So purebeautymichigan.com. Our Instagram handle is purebeauty.medspa. And then our Facebook is the same, is Pure Beauty and Wellness is our Facebook page.
Well, definitely. I'll put them in the show notes. And let me ask you, is there anything we didn't cover today that you wanted to share? Did we cover it all?
Yes. First, I just want to say thank you for having me. This was fun. I haven't done anything like this in a long time. During the quarantine, I was on a call with my friend Kyle Farr, and
Love
we
Kyle.
did a podcast. And like today, my allergies were quite bad and so very sinusy, Midwest, which is ironic because that was 5 years ago. And I just want to say thank you. And for any entrepreneur out there, your biggest benefit is networking, meeting your people, and just keep networking until you find the people that you mesh with. That is who is going to be a good collaborative source or a referral source for your client base.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. That's how you and I met. And I am so thankful that we did. And thank you so much for being here and sharing. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today for this episode of Organizing the Entrepreneur. If this episode helped you feel a little more organized or at least a little less overwhelmed, go ahead, tap that follow button so you don't miss what's coming next. And hey, if you loved it, take a hot second to leave a quick review. It truly helps more entrepreneurs find us and get organized in their lives too. Keep showing up, keep simplifying, and I'll see you next time with more ways to make your business and your life organized.